Merry Switchmas, everyone.
It is like Boxing Day of Switchmas, isn't it? For those not in the UK, Boxing Day is the day after
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. Yeah.
and that fits really well, because I don't know about you, but on Christmas Day I got all these new Nintendo things and I had to go and visit all of our family. Like, I've got a big family, you just got your aunt, but for me it was like unwrap all these really great things Christmas morning and then have to spend all day visiting family. Then it's Christmas dinner.
Are you saying
so I don't actually get to play up with my new Nintendo
you'd much rather
like
just
5 o'clock?
spend time not with people, just playing with your toys?
Pretty much. Okay. But Boxing Day,
that says a lot about you.
Boxing Day was the day when you finally got to like spend your time like actually with your toys.
So the Switch was released, what night was it? Wednesday night?
Thursday at midnight.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the day after Boxing Day. This is when you really get to play with your toys.
Yeah, so we're in a world now where Switch 2 exists. Here is my Switch 2.
I've become a Switch 2 widow for the foreseeable.
You were playing it all last night with me.
Okay, yeah, we played a couple of hours of Mario Kart. And I did hold my own, despite not having played a Mario Kart game for about 20 years.
No, you played Mario Kart 8.
Have I?
Yeah, we used to have Mario Kart parties with our friends.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought we'd do another stream to talk about some of the initial launch stuff, and also most excitingly, which is why David's here. David, my husband David, is a I was going to call you a YouTuber, but that sounded horrible.
I don't actually put that much on YouTube, the podcast, the website, social media.
He's an influencer.
Oh God, no! Don't use that term.
My husband's a James Bond influencer. One of the most,
I do have the T-shirt to prove it.
Yeah, his website is Licensed to Queer. Do you want to talk a little bit about what Licensed to Queer is, so people know?
Yeah, so I started. There you go. Yeah, hello, my face is back. Started Licensed to Queer just over 5 years ago because all the ideas had been going around in my head for so long, and I thought I finally actually got to do something with these.
Ideas about
queerness in James Bond. Yeah. So I'd started a list of stuff that was gay stuff in James Bond, and I'd started this list years and years ago, and the list just kept growing and growing and growing. Then I didn't want to just do gay stuff, I wanted to do lesbian stuff, bisexual stuff, trans stuff. I knew to be able to do those perspectives, I needed other people on board. So the website as it stands actually does reflect all those perspectives, because as a gay man who's loved James Bond pretty much as long as he's known he's gay, and when I was about 6 or 7, I was just like, oh, why am I obsessed with James Bond as a gay man? Because it appears to be quite an off-putting thing for a gay audience on the surface.
Yeah. But then through doing Licensed to Queer, we've found that
there are a lot of queer Bond fans.
Yeah, and of like different sort of, I was going to say varietals of the queer spectrum. There's lots of lesbian James Bond fans. There's lots of transgender James Bond fans. There is lots of asexual Bond fans. It's massive, and those things that you think might be off-putting to those people, like for example, like the sexual nature of James Bond and his relationships, is not something that is off-putting to asexual people.
Or the villains, a lot of the villains being gay. So I'm actually literally drinking out of Diamonds Forever mug, which has Winton Kidd, who are probably the most visible queer representation in any Bond film.
Yeah.
Problematic in lots of ways, but
it was very exciting at the same time to see that on the screen.
Yeah, he was the first gay couple I ever saw on screen. So, you know, for better or for worse.
Yeah, so you can find Licensed to Queer at licensedtoqueer.com. You can spell it either way. We prefer you spell it the English way because that's the correct way. But you can spell it either way, and then you're on socials.
Same thing, Licensed to Queer.
Licensed to Queer, but that is the English way.
No, they're all the English way.
Yeah, but like if you go to licensedtoqueer.com, if you go to the licensedtoqueer.com in America, it's still
only because they've got both domain names just in case.
Yeah.
You should spell it with the double C because that's how film titles spelled. Yeah. That's the British English spelling. But anyway.
So, but as well as Switch 2 this week, one of the reasons why David's here, other than like it will make him feel like he's had some attention this week if I do a live stream with him, is
Switch Widow. Remember.
IO Interactive finally revealed more about Project 007. So that game's been in development since it was revealed in 2021, but it's been in development for longer than that. So IO Interactive are the team behind Hitman, which is an amazing the reboot of Hitman, the World of Assassination, which is 3 games that have all been collected into one edition now, is an amazing sort of sandbox game. And I was so excited when IO got the Bond license. And
I've played that.
Yeah. It's a really, really fun game, isn't it? Like, and also it's one of those games that you have to be stealthy, where I actually like it. Like, I find stealth games very...
You're so bad at stealth games.
I just don't have the patience.
You just charge in and
but,
shoot everyone.
But Hitman, because you're going undercover, and I find it so much better. So the Hitman games are really good. So, like, over the course of 3 games, it tells a story about this shadowy organization. It's always felt very Bond anyway. So them taking over the Bond license was really great. And so we've known since 2021 they were working on something called Project 007. And then this week, because it's kind of like Summer Games Festival, which is like the new E3. Now E3's dead. There's lots of people been doing games and game announcements, including IO Interactive, and they announced that Project 007 was actually called 007 First Light, and it's releasing in 2026 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, and Switch 2. I think it's probably on PC as well, and obviously like things like Steam and those kind of digital storefronts. So that's coming out, and there were 2 things that's happened this week. So we've had the announcement trailer, which we'll talk about, which we'll play in a sec and talk about. We have watched this already, and then we will look at the we'll sort of scrub through the live stream that they did last night. They did kind of like a Nintendo Direct,
which we haven't watched yet. We've literally just got thrown ourselves out of bed. It's pretty early on a Saturday morning here in the UK. So
and so we'll watch.
Haven't even showered.
And
so I hope I don't smell.
No, you don't. And then we'll talk about those and like talk about it from a game perspective, which probably from me, and then a James Bond perspective, which probably David. So we thought you might find that interesting. You got anything to say about the stuff so far before we get?
No, I'm just really excited. So my history with gaming, I think you've talked about when you had me on before, but I don't play in games anywhere near as often as you do. But I play like a couple of things I'm really passionate about a year, and then dip in and out of various bits and pieces that you might be playing multiplayer wise. But GoldenEye 007 was huge for me. So for me, that's the high benchmark. I know we have played GoldenEye 007 subsequently, and it has dated in lots of ways.
I tried to play in the week, and I just the controls.
I think the visuals, the presentation, everything are great. Still,
the Nintendo version of it is sort of like feature parity with the N64. If you play the Xbox version of it, they've updated the controls.
But of course, it's going to date. 28 years old. That game. That's incredible, and it is still a brilliant game. But I did spend about 500, 600, however many 100 hours on that game. So that's the Bond game that I've played the most. I have played some of the others.
I think the one of the things that happened with Switch 2 this week, I don't think it's likely to happen, but GameCube Virtual Console, essentially Nintendo Classics is what they call it now, has launched. So far, there's only 3 games: Wind Waker, F-Zero GX, and Soul Calibur. But Soul Calibur being on there shows that they're willing to work with third parties. It would be amazing to get some of the GameCube, because not only GoldenEye is a great game, James Bond game, like Agent Under Fire, Nightfire, Everything or Nothing, Bloodstone, which wasn't a GameCube game, but they're all really good. James Bond actually has some really good Bond games.
Some spectacularly bad ones.
Yes, and before this one, the last James Bond game to come out was 007 Legends,
which I have never played.
But
it always looks great. When I see clips and screenshots, for apparently it plays terrible.
I don't know why we didn't get it, because it was a Wii U launch title.
Was it?
Yeah. But it's supposed to be awful. If anyone's played that, let us know what you think. But yeah, it's supposed to be really bad. It seemed like a really cool concept. Like James Bond hurts his head, and then he has all these memories.
Missions. So Daniel Craig Bond put into classic Bond adventures.
Yeah, so that's really cool. But anyway, this one looks amazing. And so what we're going to do is we're going to play this now. What I'm going to do, so it's not disorientating, me and David will hear the sound from the trailer, but we're going to turn the sound off for you guys so you don't hear that sound.
You know what's going to happen? I'm going to be I've only watched this twice. I'm going to be so spellbound by the trailer. I'm not going to say anything. No, I will. I'll try to multitask.
Okay, and we're going to press play now.
So I'm not going to do that thing like Bond fans can do and just point out all of
The Bond thing
references. But it's great that they have.
It's from the novels as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So some people have pointed out that we get this backstory about mountain climbing in Goldeneye, the film, but actually it's right there in the Fleming books. And it's a picture in your English choice.
I like who does the history.
Well, yeah, there's been you're not on Twitter anymore, but let's just say there are typical Twitter. There's been quite a few comments about the wokeness of the casting,
Asian lady,
which is actually just reflective of real life.
Yeah, I love this.
This
reminds me of like what is he doing? His job.
It appears we're going to get like 3 titles.
Yeah,
it's going to follow the Eon tropes quite closely. Places.
I love that line.
Yeah,
he's so handsome.
He's very good. I've always said that I don't really fancy James Bond, but I may be prepared to make an exception this time.
That's Money Penny.
You, of course, and that's so you've got Amiga. It's very much.
I know I'm being a bit crazy, but I think the character model of Hugh looks like Hugh Grant. I'm really surprised if Hugh Grant is thinking.
.009 is always the 00 who either gets killed or what happens. Or he's the light lapping. So, like Inspector, he's the one who the car's supposed to be pretty for and listens to. But yeah,
I like the.
Yeah.
Secret
Service.
I like
it does give you a bit of. It's become in recent years. It's become like another signature thing. Even though it looks like we've got sexy puns as well.
And like that's like James Bond.
Whatever the next film is like, we've got to have
it's quite exciting that this is the first thing we've seen of like the new era of James Bond. Obviously, it was in creation before then, so.
And the question in my mind is really. Yeah, there's a real. I didn't understand if there would be a kind of nervousness about the film's changing creative hands, and how that would affect this game. I suppose IO were. I don't have any special insight here, but I did want. Maybe we'll get that in the thing we're about to watch, but about how they felt they could present Bond, because as I say, it is the Eon presentation. Just for context here. James Bond has actually only got another 8 years before the copyright on the character expires.
Yeah,
because Ian Fleming died, unfortunately, quite early in life in his 50s. So it's coming up to 70 years after his death in about 8 years, and that means the Bond character, like Sherlock Holmes, becomes public domain. Essentially, Amazon have bought the kind of Eon version of Bond because in 8 years anyone can do Bond.
Yeah, and there's already some. There's some stuff on License to Queer. There's already some parts where copyright law is different. So if you're really interested to see how other people will, it's not saying that everything's going to be like this once the Bond thing expires, but like copyright expiring does give you license to do whatever you want with it. Like for example, Winnie the Pooh recently went out of copyright, and someone made a Winnie the Pooh horror movie, like
completely legally.
Yeah.
I mean, Bond is already out of copyright in Japan.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Like. You can do crazy things like in Japan. David and I,
it was 50 years in Japan,
and David and I went to see a Japanese all-female musical of very loosely on the story of Casino Royale. Later on, the second half is all about Rasputin, the Mad Monk, for some reason. But it was amazing.
Yeah.
But that's because it's out of copyright. So there's not lots of things you can do. I do think, though, I do wonder with a company as big as Amazon, with a lot of
sway,
and
they'll
especially
manage to
with
change copyright law.
yeah, pretty much like because
Maybe.
they have been cozying up to the President Trump.
But it's international copyright
Yeah,
law
but like
as well.
it's isn't it created by America?
I won't pretend to understand copyright law here. All I'm saying is that all we know for certain is that Amazon, IO, they're playing in the Egon sandbox.
Yeah.
They're allowed to use things from the novels, obviously, but that it's a little bit weird. So Ian Fleming Publications still own all the books, and
again, their copyright
print,
will.
Yeah, absolutely.
But doesn't the Bond cinematic character like because the first film came out in the 60s, doesn't that copyright for Bond as a cinematic character have a longer copyright?
I don't know how it works, to be honest.
Like,
but basically, if you were to make the best example is Never Say Never Again.
Yeah.
So you weren't allowed to use the gun barrel. You weren't allowed to use the Monty Norman John Barry Bond theme. You weren't allowed to use certain ingredients.
It's still a cracking James Bond film. Though.
Yeah, there's a bit of a grey area here, though. So, like, Q is not really a major character in the books. Major Boothroyd is.
So you can do
the cinematic Q, but then again, QE did become more of a character in the books, particularly the Raymond Benson books, the John Gardner books, the subsequent installments. So the film and the books, the film universe and the book universe have sort of bled into each other quite a lot over the decades. So it's quite hard to separate out which one is which.
What would happen if, like, you know, sometimes how people write as the original author? So do you know how, like,
Sebastian Faulks,
and also and Colonel Sun is
Robert Markham / Kingsley Amis.
Yeah. So, like, because Sebastian Faulks wrote as Ian Fleming, does that like make the copyright last longer?
I don't know.
Because it finished, because that book came out in like 20.
I'm sure video game audience.
Sorry, look at that.
People who've tuned in for this to talk about the Bond video game are loving our discussion of copyright law. It is important for considering, especially because video games like this take so long to make.
And also,
if they're going to do
have
sequels,
a life as well. Like,
what is going to be the life beyond First Light?
Like Hitman, which we'll talk about in a bit, came out ages and ages and ages ago, but it's still getting regular updates. Like, what's to say that when this comes out, this doesn't have a like live service almost component with free missions added, but halfway through like them supporting this game, or when they're getting ready to prep a sequel, anyone can make a Bond game.
I think it's really important to point out that if you're a Bond fan at the moment, it is a period of uncertainty. I'm spinning it in my head to be really excited about this because of the possibilities. This is very much plugging those gaps, and it sort of points in the direction of we're going to do something a bit daring in terms of storytelling because we've never really done. Bond begins in this period of his life.
Like Casino Royale, Daniel Craig is
it sort of did that, but this is even earlier than it is in that same sort of time zone, but he's obviously younger in this. So he's doing some daring things, but at the same time, it is also, like Bond always does, it's also looking back.
Yeah.
So he's playing with all those tropes. So it's not complete. I think the film will be a bigger reinvention than this game story.
Yeah. And I don't think they'll be related. I don't think the film will do this.
I think that's actually what's going to happen. We're going to end up with so many different complementary, let's say that, not competing, complementary timelines of Bond. So at the moment in the books, we've got at least 3 James Bond timelines going on with different versions of the characters.
It's not
which is what I love, but I know you might hate.
Yeah,
like
I don't think it's going to be a shared universe.
No,
they're not going to do that. I don't think it's going to be like the DC approach where they're like Elseworlds.
Yeah. It's just you've got different versions.
Yeah.
It's like Batman.
Just little things before we get on to the next bit. The one thing which I am not vibing with at the minute is the title. I don't think it feels very Bond. Like it sells the fact that this is the origin story. But I was listening to another podcast in the week, Nintendo Cartridge Society, and they said it almost feels like it's missing the suffix. Like, do you know how they have these sort of oxymoron type things? Like, I think it needs to be something like First Light of Death, or
Fleming titles are usually, and people have followed
idioms,
through
aren't
in the
they?
films, they're usually idioms or twists on proverbs, or as you said sort of oxymoronic. You've got that extreme contrast of light and dark, life and death, those sorts of things.
I do love that some of the ones from the continuation novels are really good. Like I love 0-10. I like what's that one about flowers? You never seen Flowers, which is a great title.
And
probably not for a video game.
High Time to Kill.
High Time to Kill.
That's such a good title.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of, I don't feel strongly either way about the title at the moment. I think that there might be a sort of, I think once we've contextualized it in the story, it'll probably make more sense.
It might be like something to do.
I've just thought, how's it going to sound in a song lyric? Because I don't know if we're about to hear this
in
the release. We've got to have a Bond song. Yeah,
that's a great thing about
First Love.
That's a great thing about the other video games. Like they have amazing Bloodstone, like Joss Stone, Everything or Nothing might actually be up there with actual top five actual Bond songs. Maya's Everything or Nothing is a tune. That is such a great song. And like, I think we will see more celebrities in these games as well, because that's what they used to do in Bond. Like, especially Willem Dafoe, Heidi Klum.
We know Mads Mikkelsen's already done Casino Royale, so they will have. I think they've probably had. Again, I don't know.
And that's what working with Amazon allows you to do, doesn't it?
But yeah, exactly. I think they've got the clout to be able to include people who've been in the Bond film.
Yeah, because Amazon want this to be a success as well, because it is the first thing, and it's very likely to be the first thing that they publish as. It's coming out next year, so it's going to be the first thing that they publish as the owner of James Bond.
Okay.
Because the film's not going to come out in 2026.
I think 2027.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna David can like film while I search for the other video.
Oh, I'm filling apparently.
Yeah.
Shall I sing a Bond song?
Which what you said that was your fifth favorite Bond song. What are your other four?
Oh God. So You Know My Name from Casino Royale is always it's the only time we get a song from Bond's point of view.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this actually, because we are going to delve deeply into the Bond character.
Yeah.
And you could argue that Bond is a character that you shouldn't delve deeply into, for what you might find. But the most exciting part of the trailer was the whole backstory about the climbing accident, the fact that he's really he's a loose cannon. Essentially.
I love the whole thing about like the Iceland incident, which will probably be the first tutorial mission.
Sequence,
and like what did he do that was so crazy that like Greenaway, the new character they've introduced, who's kind of like the Tanner
character,
it's like this man is crazy.
Yeah.
And she's like, we need some craziness. Yeah. So what we're going to do
because that's what the security services need, more crazy.
Yeah. We're going to scrub through here and find James Bond bits because this live stream, looking here, went on for 2 hours and 14 minutes. So we're not going to sit here for 2 hours and 14 minutes. So we will just find James Bond thing. We already know one thing that was announced, which is amazing, and we'll listen to that. And again, as usual, me and David will hear it. You guys won't. So
okay. This is the first time we're seeing it.
Yeah.
Is this the right bit?
I'm just scrolling through. This is stuff about the game.
That looks Bondy. Is it Bondy?
No, this is Mind's Eye. This is the
Mind's Eye. I'm so out of the loop with what's coming up.
This is here we go. Hitman games are so good.
You turn the volume up. We always have this thing. Whenever we're watching anything, I have to have the volume high. I think as long as you hear the words, you'll find you hear everything. So, actually hear it now. Oh, I remember playing that level.
Yeah,
the fashion.
I love the fact that it's like it's a chateau.
Show. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I was so subtle, and then I threw.
Did you drop the lights on?
I threw the body out of the window, and then everyone knew I was.
I went as a.
Had to
I did that
run
one as a model on the thing. I wore the thing and had
Yeah.
my eye flat up. It was really cool.
Mhm.
So, this is a Hitman's 25 years old this year. So they're doing a special anniversary edition.
Hi, Christian.
Very handsome. This game's good.
Really?
Yeah. It was
sort of like their audition.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So June the 6th to June. It's in there for a month.
It's actually there right now.
Yeah. So the way that elusive
some point
targets
in the next
work.
4 weeks, I have to
Yeah. So elusive targets are limited time missions where you get this is targets now in one of the maps that already exist, and you've got to take them out.
Okay.
It's a really cool way of they keep you coming back to play the game.
Yeah. But it'll just be the one mission. The end point adventure in the book, it's a chain of bronze fails financially, whereas the film it's bonds preventing a plane. I can see why. Quantum slash Spectre. Okay, let's not get into that.
Obviously, this is not Nicholas' foray into video game. The massive part of that Hideo Kojima game, Death Stranding.
Yeah, you see it.
Agent.
These levels are usually about 3-4 hours, aren't they, to play through? So just thinking when I'm going to fit it in with the mania of the next few weeks.
Well, now the Switch, you can play it in bed because you can just.
Because I always play video games in bed. There's a James Bond related pun in that area, I suspect.
I always love you just love how the games look.
The decor is very much the 2006 film. That is pretty much his.
They usually use a pre-existing map, but like this is a casino look.
So they have created the level.
From utilizing the stuff. Yeah.
So it's the fashion show with this built into it.
Apparently, I think you can downstairs. You can actually play poker as part of your cover.
And when we played
when did we play poker?
Casino Royale.
Oh yeah. And I tried to cheat.
And I got to sit next to the person playing the truth.
Yeah, and I almost got thrown off the table by that lady with the thing.
Yeah, you weren't very stealthy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Would you like?
Would I just go?
Are you gonna just do it?
No way! I'm gonna go and poison a martini.
Yeah. Oh, that's
whatever I have to do.
Like in the film. I'm really excited for this.
You can play it today.
So you have different things to do. Like obviously the main target is that, but you've got to.
There it is. Yeah, in fact, this staging is so much more opulent than Casino Royale. I know they're not recreating Casino Royale, but same suits, film with the tiny lapel. I'll be able to tell better later on, but for me, the music sounds intentionally reminiscent of David Arnold's scores to the film.
Okay. David Arnold ever done video game music?
Ooh, I'm going to say no and get it wrong, but I
Unless
don't
they've used his music,
remember.
okay.
Yeah, I don't remember him ever scoring a video game. But this is very that brass is very much the card play music from the film.
I was really disappointed when I found out that the double game wasn't coming out next year because I really thought it was coming out this year. But like, this is such a cool thing to do to keep build hype. Yeah, exactly. And I hope it's not the only one. I hope throughout the next year they keep doing Bond things. It's so cool now you have to play poker.
And it pretty much is the story of the film as well. So you're going to, I mean, I know that.
I don't recognise your clothes on.
Oh,
Well,
so I think
the juice in it.
Yeah. So, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here, but one of the things I'm excited to see whether it happens is whether James Bond is put into a position in First Light, whether he ends up
where he can romance men and women,
you know, just because he wants to, or because it's for the sake of the mission, having to romance a man.
Whether
we know it's not his first time.
Whether the sexuality is player determined.
Yes, totally. So if you're one of those people who's, you know, definitely afraid of even the prospect of a man having any intimate relations with a man, then you could avoid that if you wanted to.
But if you want to do it,
if you wanted to,
play a choice.
Play a choice, yeah. It's become so
cool. This is so cool. It's got a poker game built into it. I'm really rubbish at poker.
I'm not bad.
What's that mean?
The flop is the cards that everybody sees.
Oh, the banker's cards.
I think they're doing Texas Hold'em. Look, they've been the Royal logo on the back of the.
Oh yeah.
It won't be Casino Royale, but it's
whatever this casino is
called. It's the same design as the film.
I was doing the thing. Yeah. This is so cool.
Okay, you've got a very good hand, in fact.
So it's
my God,
2
pairs so far.
No, 3 pair because you've got that's another jack.
Oh yeah. No, actually, that's a. So it just said on like with mouse, yeah. It's going to be really difficult to beat that.
Like for him to beat Agent 47.
Mm-hmm. Sort of Felix-like character, I think.
Yeah. He's apparently slept with.
Yeah, quite well. You know my theory about Bond and Felix. Okay.
So
that's a 9.
9, 10. So you could have a straight.
Okay, this is incredibly dangerous.
You could have a straight.
Unless.
I wonder if these cards are different or whether you always play this hand.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Oh, God. This is quite tense. This just seems like a significant chunk of the game, or is this just like the. Oh, he's got 4 9s. No, yeah. That's why it was a risk. Four of a kind. Yeah.
I wonder if this happens and then you've got to take him out somewhere else. Another way. You can't beat it.
It's like the film, you lose, and then I wonder if the guy who you've slept with, apparently, if that's what's going on there,
we'll give you the money.
We'll give you the money like Felix does. Oh God, you've been poisoned like the poison martini.
Yeah. Oh wow. I love this. The
I
lady
did
who
not
does his
expect this to
hand
follow the story beats of the film.
like
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
just from what the little bit I'd seen online this as we woke up this morning. Oh God, it is like
Oh, that's
recreating
so
the film with
clever.
April Sun.
I know he's dressed like Bond as well in the
And I
tuxedo.
think that like would be the person who sort of helps you.
Where you've got only like a second to do it.
Yeah, you have to go to the car to get
You'll die because you're with lucky.
it. What? When?
You've got to get past him.
Um,
You'd be more than unconscious if you threw a hammer at him.
Not going to be very well.
24 seconds.
That's ridiculous. Oh my God. You're not supposed to make it, are you? I don't think. Or are they just doing this?
Oh no. Oh, this is going to be the carpet beater sequence now.
Oh, so you only start off in that casino level. Oh, it's not going to be your traditional
I don't think they're doing the story
Hitman
beat to beat. I think the
story. It's actually recreating the story of
of
Casino Royale. Yeah, you're not supposed to get that antidote, are you?
I wonder if you can. Maybe if you don't drink that martini, you don't get poisoned. I don't know.
Did he just say that he felt it was a necessity to get him naked?
Oh, really?
Because it would really amp up the.
Oh, Mr. Smith, that is Felix then.
No, you're Mr. Smith, Reaper Smith. That's who it is. You're Mr. Reaper? No,
No,
you're
Mr.
right.
Smith,
You're
yeah.
right. You're right.
It's good to have much.
Oh, I think you're in the basement of the chateau, aren't you?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Look, there's the
Is that the carpet? Oh,
the
yeah, yeah. It's carpet
the
beater in the
novel,
novel,
yeah.
and then it's a rather heavy knotted rope. It comes dangly bits in the.
What's that line? Then let me like that you don't seem to value. Let me.
Oh yeah, let me remove.
Let me take what you don't seem to value.
Right,
Yeah, because he was going to cut it off them.
Oh,
Choking with it.
so you're not going to get the ball smashing.
I wonder if you can kill him with that though.
Yeah.
You've got to probably get it.
They're playing this much of it in this showcase. It
Yeah.
makes you realise how much there might be.
You're cutting off the end. That's really good.
That's really cool that they just
So
dropped
it's only
They did
for
Beyonce.
yeah.
It's probably known nowadays.
It is Texas Hold'em. We have it's an elusive target then again, so you have it free for a month.
Mm-hmm.
So today until July the 6th to get to play it, and then it goes away forever.
Oh, wow.
What they tend to do sometimes, they will bring back an elusive target. So I won't be surprised if when it's closer to the game, the James Bond game coming out, they relaunch it again.
Especially as by playing this, you can unlock a costume.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Two things: if you sign up to receive emails from IO Interactive about James Bond, you get a golden gun and an outfit for Bond, which is based on what films?
It's just a dinner jacket, I think.
No, it's like a polo neck.
Oh God, sorry, I've got it mixed up. Yeah, so it's essentially the like polo tactical top from both Live and Let Die, and then paid homage to Inspector.
And then if you play and beat this elusive mission, you then will unlock more stuff that you get as for Bond when the game comes out for Light, which I think is really cool way of doing it, and I hope they continue to do this marketing stuff throughout. The stuff. They've also announced some DLC which you do have to pay for, and that one doesn't disappear. It's about £4 for an additional mission. It's really great that they've like turned Hitman into like a live service game, and over the course of 3 games you do get a really sort of Bond-esque stories of secret societies, and the characters feel very Bondy, the villain that you have to take out and stuff. So it's a perfect piece.
I played a couple of levels, and I really should have carried on playing because I was really enjoying it.
Yeah, and now you get to play
now I've
all
got an excuse
again
to do so.
on Switch 2. Yeah, so I'm going to just flip through to see
I think they'll segue into Bond next. Still talking about the.
Let's just play here.
Yeah. Veronique.
Yeah.
I've never done this. So do we playing to the
2025.
Oh, there we go. That's
Oh yeah.
Veronique's voice. It's very French. Because she is French, presumably.
They've got studios all over. Malmo's the name. Yeah. Got one in Brighton as well.
She's not French. That's so bad.
She's Swiss. She's Swiss.
She sounds like she could be the Bond.
Yeah. Anything. Oh, cool.
How can you play that on your phone?
Well, you have one of those
No,
things
I'm
that
not
you
doing
connect.
that. Don't do. You know, yeah, on my phone since.
Oh, the Hitman board.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So they're going to play the trailer again, aren't they? Yeah. Actually, I've just thought that detail there about the mountain. We never told if Bond was with his parents when they died. Or climax.
So there's all the stuff that's coming to. These are the things we mentioned. So that's the outfit.
There's something I forgot. Just pause it there. Let's go back to it in a sec. So majorly important thing, which a lot of Fleming fans are loving. You can pause it there if you want. Is that Bond actually has a scar on his face?
Yeah.
Now, for years, I've been saying one of the things I really want from a film series is Bond with a scar on his face.
Yeah.
I think it just really suits a lot of the characterization. I think it's a nightmare to do on film. You could do it nowadays because you could do CGI on every rather than do makeup, but the makeup will be inconsistent. It would be a nightmare to do for an entire film. But the video game, it's there built into the character model.
I like the names of the weapons and stuff. It feels very Bondy, Gilded Wrath. We've not got actor reveals, but it's very
Everyone's pretty much concluded that it's that guy who I've never seen it, but the Dexter Jr.
program, and because it seems mo-capped and he looks like him but ginger, doesn't he?
And sounds like him apparently.
Yeah. So yep, that is that.
Maybe we're about to get that revealed.
Maybe.
Excited because we haven't watched
gameplay reveal in the summer.
Oh, okay. You're not there. That's goosebumps. James Bond is always.
A crewman in the Navy.
You know what? They've tweeted for years anyway. The original bio of Craig's Bond they snapped to something from Sky. Was that he was in the SAS?
Oh, really?
Money penny, two ends. I don't think that's a
Who's that?
typo.
That's the girl.
I don't think that's a typo. Major typo because I think they must have done that reason. There you go. They've got all the brand types.
This is what Amazon allowed to do.
So, okay.
Coca-Cola, Oliver Brown.
Brown. They've been tied with the films for a while and they do their own ranges.
Range Rover Defender. I don't know what that one in the bottom right is because the logo's a funny colour. Yeah, we'll be doing that. Oh, brilliant. The PS5.
I don't really understand.
So basically, like, so these are the wish list milestones. So basically, like, the more people who sign up to get news coverage, they will release more free things like costumes. So you'll get a unique skin for Bond at milestone 1 and some animated wallpapers for your consoles. You'll get a different skin for a gadget at milestone 2, and then a streaming overlay for like us streaming here. We could have a background for when we stream. For milestone 3,
like a wallpaper sort of thing.
Yeah, for milestone 3, we'll get a deluxe skin and a developer ask me anything. So
I've always wanted deluxe skin.
They'll have a different.
Especially this morning, just as they're working up.
They'll have a deep dive with the developer talking about how they create the game, and then the last one is a secret reward, which looks like a mission because they've put the dossier there.
Dossier, yeah. So you get that stuff when the game's released. But for signing those things up, you signing up for those things. Okay, okay.
It's a way
that's a no-brainer. I think everyone needs signed up. Something later this summer.
They're doing another gameplay deep dive because they haven't shown gameplay yet. They've just shown
somewhere in the next 3 months. Who is that?
This is a reel of all the different stuff. Yeah.
I imagine if I go back and play the Hitman games, I'll find lots of Bond and like inspirations.
That's their new engine that is all run on Glacier. They're actually one of the few who don't use like Unreal. Yes, they actually have their own.
Even I know that much about video games.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've seen Unreal pop up on games I have played.
I think
Dishonored and things over the years.
I do think this is going to be all Bond, but I'll just scroll through quickly.
Okay.
I don't know what the new game is like. I think IO is a really cool game company. They've got a really interesting story. They were tied to EDOS, and then Square Enix. And when Hitman,
EDOS people who made Tomb Raider. No,
they were one of the published Tomb Raider. It was made by Crystal Dynamics.
That's it. Yeah.
When they made the Hitman games, this is what they're talking now about. They bring Magnificent out to talk about the game. So actually, there was a bit more.
That's a very long Q&A there.
Yeah, we'll just.
Should we do a follow-up?
Yeah. Who's that man? Probably.
Ah,
He looks like him.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I can hear his voice.
Is there quite a lot of interiority with Agent 47? Like, do you have like a sort of backstory?
Yeah, oh my god, as I cover the
Okay.
3 games, you start to learn who he is and like
Okay.
why
I think I need to play this properly. Not just a couple of levels.
just
Yeah.
push Tears of the Kingdom in another year. These are 3 games, David, in one collection.
I'll store them up for the summer.
He looks so handsome.
Yeah, game.
Oh yeah. I never played that one.
Another
GameCube, isn't it? We should potentially do a stream.
Yes, it does look good.
We did really good.
She no, I mean,
Yeah.
see, I only played those.
Yeah.
He seems to be really committed to all of this, though. He's not just like doing a vocal performance.
I don't know if
he's actually there.
I don't know if he's a video game fan because, like I said, he's done Hideo Kojima's.
He took to, we actually know video game voice artists
Yeah.
quite well, Catherine, and he does require a particular set of skills to quote Liam Neeson.
And also and I think it also requires a love of the format.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. She's asked, would you like me?
Or go. I saw some comments saying that one thing they would appreciate about this brings early days injury where like people are asking questions and they don't really get what the interviewer is doing. He's naturally charismatic.
Yeah. Give it. Hold on. I'm going to do it. I don't think you can beat him at the poker table. I wonder if you can sort of.
What if you fold?
Try out what happens.
Normally you can do it and hit that. And so that like there's lots of ways to do it. So maybe you can do it, maybe you can get the food.
I think that's it for the bond
stuff. Yeah, for the bond stuff. What I might do over the course of the weekend is I'll watch that like interview discussion. If there's any more
bits and pieces,
we'll come back and do that, like you suggest. Just before we get out of here, obviously, the other thing that's notable this week is this thing released. Just to show as well that like
you're not. Can we just make this clear? You're not in the paid employee of Nintendo.
No.
Even though you're wearing.
I paid for this myself,
and
we do have a copy of the Hitman game on there as well. It's one of the launch games that came out Thursday for the Switch 2. So Hitman World of Assassination, which the Hitman reboot games came out as 3 games originally, and then they sort of got merged into like an ongoing service. So that's called World of Assassination. So that's available now on Switch 2, and it's already available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC via Steam and the Epic Games Store.
So thank you, IO, Nintendo, and all these other publishers who have ensured that I don't have a husband for the next few months.
he says that as if
No,
I'm not taking the day off today
no.
to go to Pride with you. So.
Day off?
Yeah.
It's a Saturday. It's not the day off. It's called our weekend, Anthony.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest, I've got so many work commitments and trips away and things like that planned in the next few weeks.
So the only thing so far,
Nintendo can take care of you.
Yeah, the only thing so far that I've sort of jumped into is Mario Kart World on the Switch 2, which is obviously some of the other videos on this channel. You'll see me sort of reacting to the reveal of Mario Kart World, and then you'll also see me reacting to the deep dive that they did in a specific Nintendo Direct from a few months back. But now it's out there, we've got to play it. I've played some of the Grand Prix and the Knockout Tour, and last night David and I played it together. And
that was insane.
What are your thoughts?
So actually, I to be honest, I'd seen you playing it a little bit beforehand. I thought, okay, it looks really nice. Everything looks so well designed. I'm not just talking about pixel count and all that sort of thing. Everything looks so amazingly designed.
The world filled the light.
And then when I was watching you play it a bit more, and I realized this is the first time we've really had a Mario open world game.
Yeah.
So I love open world games when I have time to play them, because I just end up riding a horse around for hours and not doing any of the missions. But I can imagine if I started playing this on my own, that's what would happen. And you'd just find me about 5 hours later driving the car around, looking at all the scenery. And then we actually played it. And what I realized was the genius of this game. And bear in mind, apparently I've played Mario Kart 8 at some point. But, I go back to playing Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo all those years ago. So the muscle memory playing Mario Kart sort of kicked in, fortunately. So I could sort of hold my own in that and played it much recently. What I thought was the genius of this game, though, is that when we did the online, what's it called?
We did an online battle royale mode, which is called Knockout Tour.
But what I think is really clever is that every time it's going to be a slightly different course, or very different course, because it picks a series of connected parts of the map.
Yeah.
And I thought that's just genius, because it keeps it so fresh. I mean, you played all the tracks already, but I hadn't played any of them, so there's my disadvantage. That's why I didn't beat you.
No, the Knockout Tour. The Knockout Tour, you got to.
Oh yeah, I did get in the top 4. Yeah, I got in the top 4 on one of them.
Yeah. So Knockout Tour is really fun. It's a mode where now that all the races have been moved up from 12 to 24 races at once, and Knockout Tour is a bit like Fortnite in the fact that it's a battle royale. So across 6 courses, they keep raising the level at which you have to be above to stay in the game. So it starts with 24 races. At the end of the first checkpoint, only the first 20 get through, then 16, then 12, then 8, then 4, and then you're racing for first place. And we played it just together against computers, and we played it online, and like the online thing is so amazingly fun. It's
you know what? It's just occurred to me. I think that is the very first time I've ever played an online game against real people.
Really?
I know I'm so behind the times. I'm like living in the 90s.
I don't really like playing online games.
I play multiplayer with link cables and split screen.
I don't like playing online, but that it's just good fun. Mario Kart is just a nice,
fun and friendly. At the start of every track, it was insane.
Yeah, you're all
just starting grid.
Yeah,
it is like Mad Max,
and like you can be first. Like, at the time when like I was first or second, and then suddenly something happened, and then I was like fighting to stay in because I was suddenly 20th.
Somehow going from first to like 12th in like one mistake or someone hitting you with something.
Yeah,
and that's Mario Kart, isn't it? Which I know some people hate it for those reasons, but I think it makes it fun.
Yeah. So Switch 2 is out, and Mario Kart will continue to investigate. It's fun getting all the characters and the carts. That's really fun, and I'm just looking forward to finding out sort of more stuff in it. You're happy because a lot of the courses have trains in them.
Very happy. That's how you lured me in, actually. You said, oh my god, look, there's this cool train on Rainbow Road. And I was like, can I see the train, please?
Yeah, I
would like to see the train.
I'd like to see the train. So slight spoilers, because you have to unlock Rainbow Road. Whoops. But Rainbow Road.
Hang on, I was going to say, that's not really a spoiler, Anthony. That's like saying James Bond is going to sleep with somebody.
Yeah. So sometimes he doesn't, not in the recent movie. Just his wife, girlfriend, fiance.
That's still sleeping with somebody.
So we're just we're up to an hour now, so we're going to end that here. But thank you for joining us. And David, do you want to do another plug for License Queer?
Yeah, go for it. So if you're interested in James Bond queer stuff, or ideally the Venn diagram intersect of both of those things, then please follow me on the social media accounts, Instagram, X / Twitter. Might be back to Twitter soon, who knows? So basically those words there.
On the screen,
and they're on the screen as well. There. Yeah. So you can follow there. Thank you.
And now ask me to do the same for my thing.
We're on your thing.
No, but we're also going to post it on License Queer.
Oh, okay, yeah. So plug your stuff.
Yeah. So I do gaming stuff at Pixel Perfect Pride. It's also on the screen, one word. So YouTube /Pixel Perfect Pride, and also on Blue Sky and Instagram and Facebook. So this is me talking about gaming, mainly Nintendo focused, but not. And essentially, obviously today we spent most of the time talking about IO interactive stuff. So yeah, Pixel Perfect Pride on YouTube, Twitch.
Because even though you're a massive Nintendo fan, as if it wasn't obvious, you do have every video games console known to mankind. And they're all in our lounge. If you've ever seen a photo of our lounge, basically it's my books, your video game consoles, and about 300 and about 200. 170-ish.
Amiibo.
Wasn't exaggerating.
Amiibos.
The other day, he decided to actually dust
and
the lounge ahead of the being set up. Because I refused to dust the lounge because it's just covered in all these little figures around the place.
Just one thing I'm going to do before I go, just because it's fun to do that. If you do want to interact with me on Switch and play Mario Kart with me, because it's Nintendo, like you have to, you have a friend code. I will put my, you want to see that? I don't think, but there's my QR code. I'm going to post it on the comments, and I'll post it on my account so you can do that. But my Switch code is 531884802322. So join me on Mario Kart, and I will beat you.
I wouldn't have a clue how to get you to join me on Mario Kart, so just join him.
Thanks for the thing. So this is going to be on Pixel Perfect Pride, so interact with me, but it's also going to be on License Queer. So if you're interested in the James Bond stuff, go over to there. One fun thing about the License Queer website as well.
Only one fun thing
is, as well as the queer reviews of all the Bond films, most of them so far, and lots of stories and interviews with people within the Bond community. There's an amazing a Nintendo 64 amount of cocktails. There's actually 64 cocktails now.
You're joking.
Yeah. So there's 64
cocktails. So you know what? I've still got to add a couple of
there's two we've got to add. So there's 64 cocktail recipes, a mixture of mocktails. I think there's one mocktail. And
there's a lot about it.
63 alcoholic, and they're all sort of inspired by Bond girls, things in books, movies, James Bond in general. There's even a couple of football ones.
Yeah, there've been because James Bond gets kind of sort of blended in with British national celebrations like football contests and that sort of thing. It's like there's even a Doctor Who one. Yeah. So if you go to licensequeer.com, I think it's /cocktails, you'll see all those recipes that we've created together. So just thank you everyone, and hope you enjoyed. Let us know your thoughts on IO Interactive, Hitman, Bond, Mario Kart, Nintendo Switch 2, and follow along and message and get involved. Really good to see you guys. Bye-bye. Bye.